first thing I want to mention, Raja, thank you for having me on here. And I appreciate the steps that you've taken to make this meeting more secure, because that was disturbing. And it was just like, when that was all happening, I was wondering what I would have done in charge. And I don't know how I could have done anything better than you did, man. That was craziness. But all my meetings now have the chat room, the waiting room and the password. There's just no way around it. So thank you very much. Okay, so why have a coach? I've been coaching for almost 7 years, business coaching, and I get asked this question quite a bit. So today I'm going to attempt to answer it. So a little bit about Action Coach as a company. We are the #1 business coaching firm in the world. As you can see, there's over 1,400 offices, 84 countries, every continent except for Antarctica. Brad Sugar started it 27 years ago. He's still the owner. Each office, like mine, is a franchise. And our vision is world abundance through business re-education, which is a vision of out there 100 years. If we can grow enough businesses around the world to exceed what they even think is possible, it's our hope that they would give back to their community. And that's actually what my vision is for our community. I want to transform our community. And I think the way to do that is by growing businesses, because when you own a business, you're taking ownership of your property and your community. You can't just be in a tunnel and just do a job every day. It's an amazing transformation going from an employee to a business owner. Big transformation. Not many people want to go back to being an employee. Won a few awards over the years, international coaching awards, but more important than the awards I've won are the awards that my clients have won. I have quite a few award-winning clients, and it's always great to see them grow and get to that point and receive awards. So my definition and our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So the whole point is we want to make you, want you to make the money, but we want the business to do the work and you do less of it. And that's our basic goal. So let's just take a look at your business. So many times I come across businesses that are being, owners that are being driven by their business rather than the business driving them. And a lot of that has to do with the time constraints that they have imposed on themselves. And they're so busy being, hello. They're so busy working in their business that they don't take time to work on their business. So when I come across somebody and they say to me, well, I don't think you could coach my business because I make it very clear that they have time, team, money, operations, and sales. And I coach that about 20, 25 times a week in businesses. It doesn't matter what your business is, it's the system, which we'll get to in a little bit. So coaching actually combines your expertise in your industry with my expertise at growing a business. So let's look at some challenges, as I mentioned before. The most common frustrations of business owners are they don't have enough money, they don't have enough time. Remember, there's only 168 hours in a week, so you can't work 169. Or there's team challenges. Money can cure a lot of problems in a business, but not most of them. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't have enough time, you're probably not doing enough thinking about how to grow your business. And with the team, it's easy to get the wrong people. And one of my favorite sayings is, your next best employee is actually working for someone else right now. So these are big challenges. When you look at the team, a lot of times it's the culture and what they've become accustomed to. So let's get back to the time thing, the burnout. What I see a lot is coaches are the superheroes. They don't really focus on anywhere in their business other than, well, I can't outsource my bookkeeping to XYZ company because I don't trust somebody to do my books. I can't give somebody else a chance to do the marketing because nobody knows my company like I do, and I'm the only one that can market it the right way. I don't want to try somebody else for sales, hire some salespeople because, well, they probably wouldn't care enough anyway. All kinds of excuses on why we can't engage someone else. Today is actually National Administrative Assistant Day. For some reason that popped on my calendar. And one of the first things I recommend is, if you don't have an administrative assistant, to hire one. It's amazing how much more productive you can be once you start hiring people and delegating responsibilities, even if it's answering the phone, creating reports, and setting up appointments for you, that saves you so much more time to do the more productive things like sales and maybe marketing. Almost every time a client has agreed to hire an assistant, they have been overwhelmingly positively surprised at how much more profitable they become. You can only grow your business really to a certain point. After a certain point, you can only grow your business by adding people. So, a chat here so make sure everybody hears me okay. Oh, happy Earth Day. Happy Earth Day. Okay. All right. So, part of the coaching process too is to determine why you've gotten to where you are and why you haven't achieved maybe more than where you are, or the things that you should have done. So one of my roles as a coach, of course, is superhero prevention. And part of that has to do with your mindset. So when I'm coaching clients, mindset is one of the top 2 things that we work on, because as a business owner, you know, it's kind of lonely. There's not really anybody to talk to about your business that really can objectively look at it. You know, a spouse or a partner is going to have some kind of a emotional connection to you, so they may not be able to be as objective as you'd like them to be. And I work on mindset with my clients every week, sometimes more than once a week. And part of it is, how do you see yourself? If you're down here with blame, excuses, and denial, like in the current environment, we could say, oh my gosh, he's not opening up the government for another 2 weeks. We've been out for this many weeks. What am I going to do? I don't think I can stay in business, all this. That's okay initially. The question is, how good are you in taking charge of that and taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility? This is where I come in, because I ask a lot of hard questions, and most of them are around you and growing your business. And a lot of times it's, okay, so if you couldn't blame this, what would you do? And that's usually at a point where people start taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility. The fact of the matter is, if you do the bottom part and you're in bed, then you're giving your power away to somebody or something else. If you stay up here and you take the oar and you start paddling your boat, then you're going to be more powerful and you're taking charge. You're going to be one place or the other. Why not be at the top place? I'll push you and I'll encourage you. But just like a professional athlete, I mean, you really need that honest person to help you on a week-by-week basis if you want to really grow a business to a huge level. So, but here's what happens. I bring you, like I said earlier, a lot of knowledge and expertise, experience on growing a business. But here's where things happen. So I say just over broke. What happens is you are working for someone else. You decide you want to get your own business. I'll just, whatever the business may be. And you're really good at doing the technical tasks of the business. Whether it's plumbing or electric or marketing, you're really good at doing that part. And this is what I see happens a lot when people come to me. They're really good at doing what they do, not so good at becoming the CEO. And that's what I had said earlier. It's an amazing change and transformation going from the employee to the CEO. Too many business owners start out as employees, start their own business, and they stay as employees, and then they end up just over broke. They only have a job, they're living week to week, and they can't figure out why. Well, go back to that superhero thing when we're doing too much ourselves, okay? And we're not able to take the time to increase our business knowledge. I will tell you that your business will only grow to the level of your business education. Now, let me define that for you. I have, as you saw in the logo, I have an MBA. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how much have you learned about growing a business, not doing the technical aspects of yours, but actually business growth. I read somewhere between 100 and probably 120 books a year, and most of them are on business. So I have the time, I take the time to learn. I do audiobooks, I do regular books that you can read that I download into my Kindle. But how much time are you learning? Because I will tell you, again, like I said, you'll only grow to the level of your business knowledge, how to run a business knowledge, or sometimes jokingly, I'll say to your own level of incompetence. So it's important for you to transition from employee to CEO. And that's one of the things that I work on consistently, week by week with clients. Okay, so the second one, the first one was mindset. The second one is accountability. So who is it that's ensuring on a weekly basis that what must happen in your business is actually happening? You know, all of us want to be sometimes prideful and say, well, I can do it myself. But I will tell you, if you're doing it yourself, you may want to rethink that strategy, because I've yet to meet anyone that I can think of that can actually hold themselves accountable to the level they need to be accountable to grow their business, because something always gets in the way. You logical people out there can say, yes, I can do this black and white, but I promise you some emotional upset, conflict, or involvement will come up and take you off of your accountability for the week. Happens all the time. The trick is, who's there to recognize that and to help you get back on track? So accountability is something that I keep in front of my clients on a weekly basis, as well as their mindset. And just for 1 second, going back to mindset, one of my favorite sayings, and those of you who are on here or my clients know that I've said this to you, or I've asked you this question. Why are you selling to yourself? That's a mindset question. We're so happy to tell ourselves why things can't happen. And because we sell that story to ourselves, things don't happen. I don't believe in doing that. And every time you do that in front of me, I will be sure to call you out and ask you why you're selling to yourself. And part of the accountability is you'll be in denial and you'll say, if you remember the dot, no, I'm not doing that. And then we start talking about it and you realize that you are. So please don't sell to yourself. It's one of the things I always keep in front, and I want to make sure that you're not doing. So for those of you out there who are more systems oriented, black and white, engineers, CPAs, people like to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and it's more your forte. Action Coach has 27 years of a proven system which guarantees results. We have the 6 steps coaching system, which is the foundation for our coaching. I have 5 ways, which some of you have seen that presentation in the last week or two, which is how to grow massive profits. And then when it comes to putting systems into your business, I have the 4 ways, which involve people in education, systems in tech, et cetera, et cetera. So we have the systems, we have the foundation, but on top of that, we have the creativity to uniquely adapt them to your business. That's one of the reasons why we're going to coach. And whoops, next slide. So here's the other part. This is absolutely one of my favorite parts of coaching. It's the brainstorming part. It's the sounding board. If you don't have someone you can bounce ideas off of and really do some free thinking, brainstorming, you're selling yourself short. Because so many times I've been in a brainstorming session with a client, even if it's 5-10 minutes, and we come up with an idea and they're like, oh my gosh, I never really thought of that. And it's not so much that I'm some kind of genius that thinks of these things. It's just a conversation, but I'm taking an outside perspective and thinking of all the possibilities of what can happen, rather than taking the inside perspective, which most business owners do, and thinking of all the things that can't happen. So brainstorming is one of my absolute, and those of you who have worked with me know it's one of my absolute favorite things. So anyway, that's another reason to have a coach. And finally, your team. So you start out with your business, you hire a few people, now they're with you a certain number of years, and you start to make, you become very familiar with them, and you start to make some decisions about changing things in the business for growth. Well, it's that old salt where you say, well, the hardest thing to do is to get something to move. And I will submit to you, one of the hardest things to do for a business owner is to get an employee to change direction. Once you get them going, things are pretty good. But they're so resistant to change because they're afraid they may lose their job. They're afraid of having to learn something new. A lot of things happen with employees, and I'm not saying all employees, but some. And those of you who have employees know there's those few that could really be the negative ones that can ruin it for everybody. So having an outside expert like me come in and train your team on the changes, or work with your team on aligning them with your culture and your values. Culture is really big in this scenario. Is one of the great contributions we have as a coach. So your mindset, the mindset of your team and how they think is really important, but it's easy for us as business owners to start getting too comfortable, and then we go to
I would start wrapping up the presentation.
Okay, great. Final thing. Number 1 reason, have you expect results. I have thousands of testimonials. The real challenge is to get you to believe that you have great results, or believe you can have great results. I have like 3 more slides, or 2 more slides. Finally, questions for the group. In the current environment, what marketing medium has provided the most return for you? Which marketing would you most likely respond to? And why would you have a coach? And the final slide is I have two offers today, 20-minute pivot call. I'll talk with you for 20 minutes, do a little brainstorming about your business, or I could do up to 2 hours of business diagnostic where I'll analyze your business in a 2-hour complimentary session. There's my contact info, and certainly you can get from Raja if you need it. Okay, so how do I unshare?
You can click on stop. There we go.
Saw you. All right, thank you.
All right, questions. We'll now move to the Q&A side.
You're gonna handle the question.
So so I can get started here. So, so Accent Coach is, right now, so you are a franchise, right?
That's right.
Okay. How many franchises are there, I guess, across the, country? Are these like single member proprietorship?
Okay, there's 1,400, more than 1,400 around the world. Some are single, like me, for now. Some are where I came from was a firm that was a coach, and then I was the employee coach. And some have several coaches, but most of them are solopreneurs.
Okay. Question from Santiago. So if somebody decides to do what you're doing, how quickly can I guess someone get started?
To be a coach?
Yeah.
Actually, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So the first thing you have to do, certainly you can buy a franchise, and that should only take you a couple of weeks if you have the finances. The other part is you have to go through a 10 straight days of training at our home office in Las Vegas. And I'm telling you, it sounds like, well, it's not easy. It's 10 days. We're usually there like 10 hours a day. So there's a lot of training to get your action coach certification.
Yeah. This is a good question here. So, and which kind of like also relates to some of the things that, happens in the Valley. So there are services provided by SBDC SCORE that are also on mentoring consulting side, right? So, so how do you differentiate yourself? Because a lot of almost all of the service that SCORE provides is free. There's no charge to that. And also, SBDC. So how do you differentiate yourself?
Okay, so I think that every business should have a coach, whether it's SCORE or it's SBDC. Get yourself coaching somewhere. If it's not me, get someone else. I think the thing that probably differentiates Action Coach from other coaching firms and services is that we can actually guarantee the results. We have a 17-week guarantee that if we can't find your coaching tuition, in other words, we are not making you more than your coaching tuition in 17 weeks, we will coach you for free until we do. I've had to do that twice in 7 years, and it usually was like within the next month we found it. The other thing is, if I don't think I can get you 3 times your earnings in the first year, at least 3 times, I won't coach you. So that's why I always say we have to both see the benefits of working together. I think that pretty much differentiates it.
Just to clarify the question that Santiago had earlier, and I'm sorry that I read it the wrong way. So what he was actually referring to is, if someone wants to work with you, then how soon can they start it, getting the coaching needed?
Fantastic. Okay. So the first thing, if they want to get started with me, is I have them fill out a 4-page questionnaire that should take 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. I need to see that information so I can do research. And then I have a 2-hour complimentary coaching session with that person on their specific industry and business. And at the end of those 2 hours, if we can both agree to see the benefits of them coaching, then I'll ask them to move forward. If not, there's no obligation. At the end of that, yes or no, it's your answer. There's no selling, because any of you have played sports or been in the arts know that if you don't want to do it, nobody can force you to do it. So I only coach people that really want to move forward and grow. I have different levels for different people as far as the coaching tuition. So that's how they do it. I have group coaching and I have single coaching.
Next question is, if you look at the current economic environment right now, with what is happening with COVID-19, and there's so much uncertainty that are out there, especially, when you're running a small business or a medium-sized business or even large businesses. So Girish's question is, the current market should be ripe, for coaching. So how are you reaching these individuals, that might, become your prospective clients? So how are you reaching out to them?
Well, that was the question on my next to last slide. I've been doing a lot of the networking. I've been doing presentations every Wednesday night. I'm in this group. I'm in a couple different groups. The question is, I'm trying. My strong suit as far as marketing is, and those of you who have actually met me is in-person networking. That's my strongest way of marketing myself because I enjoy people and I love meeting people. So it's been a bit of a challenge right now to enroll more clients. I'm getting some, but the question I ask now, which I wasn't asking before this all happened, was your competitors are getting prepared for whenever we open up. And if we opened up next week or in 2 weeks, what plans do you have to take advantage of that? Because you're going to have to hit the ground running. That's what I'm kind of marketing now, is to get you ready for whenever that time is that we're up. So that's how I do it. But I'm interested in hearing what would appeal to anybody in the group as far as marketing.
As a follow-up to that question, Sam, so the Wednesday session that you have, so you have that on a weekly basis, correct?
Yes.
And is that like a free session?
Oh yeah, Wednesday afternoon. Yes, Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock. Dave, who's on here, Dave Ravenall, and I have a networking and business briefings event. It goes from 6 to 7:30. I'll send you the information, Roger. It goes from 6 to 7:30. It's a little education, business education, and then it's networking because I break us out into rooms, the breakout rooms, so you can interact with the other people on the call, and that's been very, very popular. Okay. So that is free. Yes, it's just like Valley Networking, but it's online.
But what about your specific service? So what I'm saying is that, so let's say, for example, there are 5 or 6 entities that are really interested on learning about what your coaching is going to include, right? Looking at some metrics, looking at how the process starts, and so, but they are not willing to sign up with you right now. They want to probably, do a 90-minute session with you or whatever time frame.
Sure.
And you then, talk about here's what we will be going through, right? And here is what the metrics will be. Here are some, how we are going to look at metrics. Do you do something like that? So we're no cost.
Yeah.
It's more like an information, but a little bit more heavier, than just basic information, so that these business owners or a potential client can judge, or evaluate, okay, is that going to be valuable to me, right?
Yes.
So you do something like that.
That's the complimentary coaching session, which can be up to 2 hours. And I promise you, I don't sell anything there. It's me helping you on 2 aspects of your business that you were challenged with. And I help you with that. And if at the end of that, you can see the value, then you're going to say to me, and this is what happens. They say, I'd like to go forward. What programs are there? Okay. And that's it. If it's like, no, doesn't interest you, or you can't see yourself doing it, that's fine too. At least you got 2 hours of learning a little bit about growing the business. I'm okay with all that. And those of you who know me know that like that.
Diane has a question here regarding nonprofit. So do you coach, there's someone that is trying to, start, nonprofit. And our next question is, so what are some indicators when you're evaluating success of a nonprofit? First of all, I guess the first question is, do you?
Yes is the first question.
Okay.
I have coached nonprofits in the past down in Houston. So what is an indicator of success? Well, I guess one of the first questions I ask somebody when they sit down with me is, what does a business look like when it's finished? So same for nonprofit or not-for-profit. What does this look like when you have the not-for-profit or the nonprofit that you want? So we start there. What is it that your dream is? And then we come backwards and say, okay, how do we get there? So it could be helping, whatever it might be, helping women, helping people of low income, helping whatever your not-for-profit is. It could be a charitable Christian group, it doesn't matter. Whatever your dream is where we start, because if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. So that's how I would define the success. Okay. They define it, I don't really define it.
Do you specialize in any particular industry? I think this is a great question from Girish, is that, are you more general? You can look at, any industry, or are there a particular sector like retail, food, professional services that where your skill set?
That's a fantastic question. That's a great question, Girish. Thank you. No, it's all about the system that I employ to coach the business. I will say that I would not be interested in coaching more than like 70 employees, because at that level they start getting the different layers of management, like vice presidents and all these other people. So I enjoy most coaching less than the 75 employee business. What the business is doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it doesn't matter as far as coaching in.
So as a follow-up to that question, if you're saying that you don't prefer to coach someone that is, or an entity that has more than 70 employees, but what's your sweet spot? So size-wise.
Okay, size-wise, I would say 25 or less.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's two aspects of that. I enjoy coaching the established businesses that could have up to 25 employees, but I really, really get excited about coaching the people that are starting up or have been around for a year and are making less than 100,000. Because those are there's the two aspects. There's the ones that are just getting started and have that selling to themselves, I can't do this mentality. And then there's the ones that have been around a while and say, well, that's the way we always did it, which are the 7 worst words in business. So I like both ends of that, but I really get excited about people that are new to their own business a year or two and are not making, between 100 and 300,000. So I have two different levels there.
Okay. Sam, how long have you been coaching? And prior to Action Coach, can you also share with us your background?
Sure. I've been coaching. I started with Action Coach in 2013 down in Texas. Moved back here. My wife and I moved back here. Now I'm from here. I only lived there for 8 years or 7. Yeah, 8 years. So I moved back here in November. So I've been coaching here for whatever that is, 6 months. Before that, I was in sales. I loved providing solutions, benefits, employee benefits, workers' comp, all that kind of thing. I started in sales. Got my BS in accounting, and I did accounting for about a year, and didn't think that was really suitable for me as far as being in one room. And I decided to get into sales, and I was in sales for probably 30 years. So I've seen all aspects of human interaction, the way people approach, their communication styles, and the confidence level that people do and don't have, because I have done some sales management. So that's it. And I got my MBA when I was 50 in finance. So my BS is in accounting, my MBA is in finance.
Can you also share with us? I mean, I don't know. I don't think that you put that in your slide. I may be mistaken. Mm-hmm. But what's your cost structure? So can you give some idea on
Sure.
How the pricing works, right?
Sure.
So you're running a business, and we understand that the first 1 or 2 sessions might be at no cost, to get people familiar with who you are. Mm-hmm. But let's say if I'm looking for a coach and I decide that, okay, I'm going to, I want to, go further, with this. So what am I looking at financially?
Okay, great question. So I have several levels. The first level of coaching is a group coaching program. It's $100 per week. It's via Zoom. Right now the group is Monday mornings at 10 o'clock, but as I add people, I'll be adding different times. So that's people that are making up to $100,000. Once they get over that, I go to a different level, which is a limited number. So the Zoom, the first group can be about 6 people in the group, and it's an hour. Mm-hmm. And that's about all they need for their coaching, like 10 to 15 minutes each. When I get to the next level, it's $200 a week. That's also via Zoom. It's group, but there's only 4 people in that group. And if there's only 2, they each get half an hour. It's an hour. It runs an hour. So there's only 4 people in that group. But these are people between $100,000, maybe $300,000 of revenue. So they have different questions. The cool thing about the group coaching is that the dynamic is the perspectives that everybody in the group brings. And sometimes they just say something that's like so helpful to others in the group, because they're all pretty much in the same boat with some of the very similar challenges. And finally, above that is one-to-one coaching. You meet with me, right now it would be Zoom, but typically in person, 1 hour per week. That's the fastest way to grow. You'll grow with your other businesses, just not as fast. The other programs, not as fast. That starts out at $1,695 per month for the business, for a business with less than 3 people. That comes with the guarantee, though. If we can't find your fee in 17 weeks, I will coach you for free. And like I said, over the last 6-7 years, I've had to do that twice. But that starts there. I charge at that level by the number of employees. So when you get over 3 employees, then it goes up another $500, and then it just keeps going up like that.
Yeah.
Answer your question?
Yeah, I think I think it's a little clear here. Chris, this is a question from Chris Briggs. Chris, yes, we will go ahead and post, Sam's contact information. That's not a problem. Matter of fact, when we send you all this video, you will have his contact information as well. And I'm pretty sure that you can also, reach out to Sam for his contact information. Matter of fact, what I'll do is that I'll ask Sam once he's done, before we all leave, I'll ask him to put his last slide, share the last slide, That way, you can also, have his contact, information. Going back to, Sam, going back to your pricing strategy.
Hmm.
So let's say if the business is, I don't know what the cost structure is like, but I'm just thinking, if you have a business that has got about 3 employees out there, $1,000 to $1,200 a month might be a little bit more than what I can chew, let's say right now, right?
Hmm.
So, but I'm willing to work with that or negotiate with that. So if I come to you and say that, what, I'm not, this is something that I cannot afford at this stage,
Hmm.
but probably, we can do some aspect of that, but also based part of the compensation on not only performance, but what kind of results in that we can get. Is that something that you also look at? Are those questions that you do get?
Yes, I honestly, when I do that 2 hour complimentary coaching thing, there's a couple things I look at. First of all, I look at how we can grow your business. And that's why I want to do some research before we meet. The second thing is, if I don't think I can get you 3 times your revenue in that first 12 months, I will tell you flat out, I don't see this happening. Now, it happens rarely. Sometimes people have a great idea, but don't have a great business yet. So I might recommend one of my smaller programs so they can get there. But yeah, I won't coach somebody that I can't get them at least 3 times. And in the second year, I want to get them 7 to 10 times their revenue. So I really look at that. I pride myself on that. And like I said, if it's not going to work, I'm very, very honest. I will tell people, yeah, let's start with a smaller program and get you there. And then after you get to that level, let's get you, I'll do that with somebody. Is that your question?
Yeah. So yeah, partly, but I think you addressed it.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a question. Got a question from out of state business or out of country business. So let's say somebody is not based in Pennsylvania, but they are based in outside the state or even out of the country. Do you also look at those clients?
Yes. So it's something unique about Action Coach. Certainly we're worldwide, but that's not the only unique thing. So when you get a franchise license with Action Coach, sometimes you're limited to a territory. Well, I'll just say it this way. Because of my experience and achievements with the company, when they offered me a franchise, I wasn't limited to a territory. I went anywhere I want to go. So they're happy with me going anywhere in the world that I want to go. Anywhere in the world I want to coach. Okay. And if it's not, if we can't both see the benefits of us working together, I will recommend a coach in their country or their state if they really need to do that. I'm fine with that. Okay.
Jeff has a question for you. What about individuals in company or complex industries, right? I mean, businesses that are pretty complex. How do you coach someone without fully understanding their business or industry?
Okay, that's a great question, because I get that question asked a lot in networking. So the answer to that question is, it's more about the system for growing the business. I take your expertise in whatever industry you're in and combine that with my expertise for growing a business. So I stick with my systems that I have, which I showed you on the slide briefly, and I help you implement those metrics and those systems in your business, which can make any business grow. I mean, I've had all different kinds. I mean, if I listed you all the different types I've coached, you wouldn't believe it. So I don't necessarily have to be an expert in your business, your area, your field of expertise. I just have to be an expert in showing you how to grow your business. And that's what I do with the systems. It's just me repeating the system over and over again.
Yeah. And by the way, you may be interested to know this, but Nicole has also given you a testimonial here.
Oh, thank you, Nicole.
So she went through a 2-hour session with you, and I think she found it, quite valuable. So let me see. I think we're coming towards our end of the question here. I don't see any further question on chat. Guys, let me know if I'm missing if I'm missing something, but I don't think I am, but I'll be happy to take any further question. So why don't we do this? We've got about 15 minutes or so left right now, and before we jump into a more generic discussion on PPP and other things, there was a question Girish had posed that to me earlier about the other 1 million cups throughout the country. Are they also, running your weekly session by Zoom? Um, Mark, I don't know if you are here still, but Mark Burke, our regional Northeast rep for 1 Million Cup, is in this call. Mark, you still here?
I am.
Okay. So Mark is, our regional rep. He represents the Northeast United States for the Kaufman Foundation and the 1 Million Cup. So I'm just going to put you on the spot here to let me to see if you can address that, to see how are the other communities doing their 1 Million Cup during this period. Can you share with us?
Sure, absolutely. So it's great to be here today. I've been down a couple times actually to see the face-to-face 1 Million Cups for you. So it's great to be here virtually. So yes, we, being the Kaufman Foundation and the regional reps, released the ability for 1MCs to be held virtually by offering the Zoom accounts, and we had kind of no idea where it would go, and it's booming. We are in the process of collecting all of the links, not only those done through Zoom, but some communities had a virtual presence and using their own system. So at this point, I just popped over to the virtual event list. We're collecting, encouraging everybody to go in there and pop their links in. We have about 180 communities across. I would say right now we have many that we don't know aren't necessarily going virtual, but we have fairly consistently 20 to 30 that are posting their links. And what we're encouraging, what we're doing right now is we're looking at a way to get those links out to the broader community. So kind of stay tuned on that, because I know there are some people who really want to be able to jump on various different 1 Million Cups and see what other communities are doing. So shortly we'll be able to kind of distribute that, and we'll be doing that through the organizers at the local community. So yeah, going very strongly, and really happy to see lots of folks jumping in and definitely giving us some feedback that this format's really working for them.
Okay, so I think you addressed Al's question here. So we as a community at some point in time will be able to watch other communities' videos. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in fact, right now what I would say is that through streaming, mostly on Facebook and YouTube, and this is kind of what we're trying to work on to make it easier, is to find them. But you can certainly Google those, or go on Facebook and look for those streaming events, because many communities have been doing that for a while. And yes, Raja, we're looking at how we can get that master list of links made more public. And we're right now, as organizers, you do have access to that. So this is one thing you could do as an organizing team. You can pop into Slack. You can look at the virtual event channel, and in there is a list of all of the community links. And if you wish, you could always copy paste. And of course, we have the issue of Zoom bombing, which you all know quite well. So what we're doing is trying to figure out how to make that secure. And the other thing we did was also just we had a little session based on some of the events being Zoom bombed, and we talked about security, and you all have done those things quite well. So Raja, you could go in there and take a look, and in a way that's secure, get those out to your audience. So we don't encourage Zoom bombing, but you do have access to that.
Okay, well, I'll certainly take a look at that and share that with the group. Mark had a question. Mike had a question for you, Mark. Is 1 Million Cup always a weekly organized event, or can it go monthly?
Yeah, it's a great question. This past year's summit, the 2019 summit, we as a community, not we as a Kaufman or we as an organization, had taken years of work, years of experiences, and collected those to build the 1MC core programming. At its core, 1MC is a weekly program, Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. So it was something that at 2019 summit we put out to all organizers. We're moving in that direction and working to get all communities kind of the resources and support they need to move in that direction. And more about that transition toward those core elements will be coming at the 2020 summit. So definitely would encourage and you do obviously Raja is a great participant was at that summit as well. So we'll be talking more about that, and we've been working with communities to figure out kind of where they are on that move toward weekly. Yeah, so we're getting feedback on that now. We'll have more to share in 2020 to see how it's going.
So, Mark, as a follow-up to Mike's question, so what percentage of, do you know off the top of your head, what percentage of 1MC right now is weekly versus monthly?
Mm. Yeah, I don't know the statistics, but I would say it does depend regionally. I think Northeast has been one that's consistently not as weekly. It's been more monthly. And you have other areas. I think Midwest probably has the highest percentage of weekly. That's a bit anecdotal. So yeah, we're kind of always trying to figure that out because we also have a bit of a moving target right now. We've had some folks who were monthly, they went to Summit and have been moving toward weekly, and so either they're doing that and we don't know, or the website still says monthly, so we capture the data, yet they're kind of like scheduling on a weekly basis. So we're trying to figure that out. But yeah, if I gave you a number right now, I'd be totally making it up.
Okay, great. Well,
a quick follow-up to that from Mark and you, perhaps. Have you seen some of these other communities pivot towards more specific topics in the current economic environment? Maybe, having special panel discussions. I know we had one here at our community at Lehigh Valley, but certainly we would like to hear if others have done similar targeted sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Girish, it's a great question. What I would suggest is, because that question is kind of hard to grasp over 180 communities, is if you jump on Slack as an organizer, and if you need help getting in Slack, let me know. I can make sure you're added in there. I would actually just pose that question and you will get responses from across the nation. They'll give you the best answers because they'll say, hey, we tried this worked. Getting it directly from the people who've tried it, I think, is a great start. What I would say is that I've heard a few communities when we get together as regional reps, I've definitely heard regional reps say, hey, I popped into a 1MC today and they were talking specifically about had a theme for the day and that was working. But again, I think the best thing to do is engage with the other organizers from across the nation and kind of get what they're doing firsthand.
Okay, I'll reach out to you for a Slack membership.
Yeah. And actually, Gary, since you're in the organizing committee, you already have a Slack account with 1 million cup. But Mark can certainly relay that more. And Mark, what Girish was referring was, we had a small business, how do you work in this environment panel on April 1st or somewhere around that time frame that we did about 3 weeks ago. And we had different presenters that came in. We did a panel from SBDC, from SCORE, and also from a bank to see how, and it focused a lot on the financing side, especially on the situation. And we had a great turnout for that. I think we had about 60 plus participant.
Yeah, that was one of the highest attendees.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
So that was, so I think that's where the kind of question is coming from. Before Santiago, thank you for reminding me. I'm sorry that we forget to ask Sam the most important question that we ask, all our 1 million cup presenter, and I'm sorry that we also forgot to ask this question to Somo last week. So Sam, how can we as a community help you?
The best way to help me is by helping other business owners who just get them to meet with me for the 2 hours. I will help them some way, whether they become clients or not. I have helped everybody that I've ever met with move forward with their business, and that can help our community to grow. So the easiest way is just to refer them to me. I'll treat them great. I'll ask them some questions, get them to where they want to be in that 2 hours, and then from there they have to decide, like I said. So you can help everybody, strategic alliances, whoever, by just referring them to me for the 2-hour complimentary coaching.
Okay.
Thank you. And thanks for the question, Santiago.
Well, Sam, thank you, for sharing that. And Santiago, thank you for, reminding me. So I'll make sure that I write that down starting next Wednesday and we don't forget that question. Yeah, that's an important question for us to ask. So we've got about, we can spend about another 10 minutes or so to talk about anything that you like. If you want to also address the issue of, PPP moving forward, or any other area that you'd find it interesting, we can do that. And then at the end, we'll take about 2-3 minutes and also do some announcement. Just as a quick update, I saw Asher was on the call, but I saw Asher posted, something in LinkedIn, this morning. I saw that in my account that the city of Bethlehem has also announced a small grant program, for small businesses. And I think they have allocated about $300,000, towards this program, where small businesses can apply for up to $2,000 in grant. This is not a loan, this is a grant, to run their day-to-day operation. Asher, are you still on the Zoom call?
No, he dropped out.
Okay, so something to, and what I can do is I can forward you that information. I think the city of Bethlehem has brought out a press release, on that. That can be helpful, to a lot of, small businesses. But they may have a geographic concentration as far as where the business has to be located. And I'm thinking that it has to be, located within the city of, Bethlehem, their range. But anyway, so $2,000, and then the good thing about that is that it's 100% grant. It's not a loan, and I think you can use that money for
Raj,
a variety of operational expenses. Yes,
Raj, it's Mike Lichtenberger. That's exactly right. It has to be a city-centered business, brick and mortar, in the city itself to do that, and it is a grant. The U.S. Chamber Foundation also has a grant up to $5,000, but it requires you to put in your zip code first. And then they come back and say, you're not economically vulnerable. So much for that, because none of us would be eligible. I tried all the zip codes of the Lehigh Valley, and none of us would be eligible for that. So much for their helpfulness. And I get it, I'm not complaining, but we go to these resources, and time again, people get frustrated. PPP is out of money, unemployment's a train wreck, and people are getting desperate.
yeah. Any other feedback?
Yeah, hey, Roger, that grant from Bethlehem, you mentioned geographic. You also have to be like on a main street, so you have to check directly in a downtown area.
Okay, thank you, Santiago. And any further feedback on the PPP program? I know that, but they're in the process of, I guess, bringing out a new, tranche of, money. But of course, that's not my field, but I can only gauge from what I hear on the news or what I read. But apparently, this money is going to go away pretty fast, also. So.
The thing with that grant is that if you applied and were denied on the first round, you will be considered for the second round.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tony. Any other feedback updates that you'd like to share? You can just unmute your mic and then take a few seconds to do it.
So can I add something here?
Yes.
So the second wave of PPP money has already come in today in most lenders' bank account, and it will run out faster than the previous round, the first round, because there is so many applications pending from the previous round.
Okay. And what is the amount for the new round?
The new round, they have 400 billion funds allocated between the PPP, the hazard pay for the hospital workers, and the EIDL grant. I don't have the specific numbers, but it is somewhere 240,000 or something for the PPP.
Okay.
Just a question about that. If somebody applied for it and didn't get the 10,000, like they got 1,000 or 2,000, whatever that, should they reapply in hopes of getting more, or is it once and done?
You talking about the EIDL or PPP?
The EIDL.
So you applied for the EIDL, instead of 10,000, you received the $2,000, right?
Well, I'm thinking of my son down in Atlanta. He applied, he got 2,000. A lot of his friends got 10, but it had nothing to do with the employees at that time.
So no, I would not reapply. The way it works, it's $1,000 per employee. So if you have 10 employees or 15 employees, you will still receive $10,000. If you have less number of employees, it will be $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is.
I didn't remember that as the way they rolled it out, but that's great. I know that's what it is now. Thank you very much, Manal.
Any other feedback? Otherwise, we will move into announcements. Okay. So why don't we do this? Let's take a few minutes. If anybody has an announcement, we got a similar policy, 30 seconds or less. If you'd like to announce anything that you are doing or any program that you're managing or coming up, just let me know who wants to go first.
Go ahead, Rita.
Morning, everyone. Unlike Sam, I'm also a consultant, but I don't deal with the numbers. I deal with public relations and marketing issues, what your marketing message is. Because we all miss seeing each other and brainstorming, my coffee talks have turned from monthly to weekly. It will be tomorrow from 11:30 to 1. And I'm going to post the topic and the link and all the information you need right in our chat room. And if you have any questions, just feel free to text me or email me at ideallady@opendoorlv.com.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rita.
everyone.
Yep. Anybody else?
Just a reminder that tonight, Dave Rabinal and I will be sponsoring another business briefings and networking event. We're going to talk about business mindset, and we're having a special guest, Diane Wallow, CPA. We'll be talking updates about the CARES Act. That'll be from 6 to 7:30. I'll send you the information.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Looks like we are all set here. Just as a
I think Manal
follow-up.
had something.
Okay. Who has something?
Here, okay. My name is Manal. As most of you know, I'm a CPA, certified tax coach. The pandemic was announced on March 13th. I mean, the emergency was declared on March 13th. We have been hosting since March 15th the town hall meetings, educating all the business owners in the area about what they need to do about the business. And this is not just for our client, it is open for all the people in the community. And we have impacted more than 1,000 businesses so far, guiding them on the CARES Act bill, what to have to interpret, and answering their general questions. So if anyone is interested, send me an email, admin@kbtaxdevices.com. I will post the email here, and I can send you the Zoom link. There is no pitching or anything. It's just a free webinar for anyone who is interested.
Okay. Thank you. By the way, just for your information. Yeah, so so this meeting is this session is being recorded along with chat. So when you get your email, the recording, I mean, you can download the chat and get all that information. So that we have been doing that every week. And actually, if you receive our 1 million cup that constant contact ad, most of you do receive that. You will see at the very bottom of that our constant contact ad, we have been putting a link to all the video session that has taken place within the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we have just been adding to the library. So not only you'll have access to this presentation, but any past presentation that you may have missed. And you can also download the chat, from those presentations as well. Okay?
Hey, Roger, one thing.
Yep.
What I wanted to offer was I want to offer words of encouragement to everyone in the group. Members of my community have come to me with concerns about conspiracy theories, not sure what to do next. And in one case, someone was hospitalized due to the mental stress. So I know about half the people that are on here, but for those that I don't and those that I do, anyone that would like to reach out to me, my email is available. You can reach me through Raja. And if someone needs someone to talk to for guidance, I offer my time to you. Just text me or call me. Sam had a slide that indicated it's good to have someone that is not a spouse or a partner to talk to. About 3 years ago, I had some serious stress about finances related to my own business. And I discovered the same difficulty. Even though I was surrounded by a group of people, I felt that I couldn't speak to anyone, no one would understand me. And luckily, because of my network, I reached out to someone that said, Santiago, take some time out. He mainly listened to me. It wasn't so much that he resolved any of my problems, but just the ability to have that sounding board makes such a difference. It did for me, and that's what I wanted to share with the group today.
Thank you, Santiago. That's great of you. Anybody else? Then you know, we got about a minute more. All right. So if there is no feedback, comments, thank you all for joining us today. So remember, we'll have our next 1 Million Cup next Wednesday. But in the meantime, if you want to reach out to me or if you like to contact any of the participants, you can directly contact them. But if you don't have the contact information, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to put you in touch with them. I mean, I don't know when are we going to get back to normality regarding our 1 Million Cup, but we'll continue this journey here with Zoom, and we're getting better. I'm also learning more as we are doing more of these sessions. So thank you all for your participation, and your contribution. That's what this session is about, and I will see you all next Wednesday. All right, have a great day.